President Trump, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Thank you.
There are a number of things that make your campaign unprecedented. You are the first former president to run for re-election in more than 100 years. You are facing 4 indictments. But I want to ask you this, Mr. President. Why do you want to be?
On NBC, I saw a poll and I saw some statistics, and it said in 2019, we had death, so much death and so much horrible destruction. And it was a terrible thing.
Well, and you have talked about a lot. We are going to delve into a number of issues you brought up. You talked about all the people coming across the border. Of course, a lot of families also coming across.
The Art of the Deal. You could write a book on it, The Art of the Deal. And it's a sad situation. I mean, nobody should be happy about this. I'm not happy about it. Nobody is. Slippery slope. It's a very sad thing. It's a very sad thing, and it's dangerous, very dangerous for our country.
But
12 charges, 12 possible charges.
And he's still under investigation.
This is the only charge that doesn't affect his father.
Well, he's still under investigation.
Well, sure, maybe. I mean, let's see what happens. Joe Biden, gun charge. Gun charges, people have had gun charges. I thought it was just horrible. Rappers. Well, I don't necessarily agree. He $1 billion. He called in. You mean he called in all these meetings? He was calling in on the meetings. He was put on speakerphone. There are a lot of things here.
Never any wrong.
Quid pro quo. What they're doing to people is so horrible. People died and nothing happened to them. And nothing is happening. This isn't God coming down and very fairly said, the election was rigged. They call it Twitter files, ballot stuffing. You take a look at the fact that strong, respected, but you shouldn't say it. People know it was rigged. Look, the gun charges, I will say this, they think I was treated very unfairly. I mean, perfect phone call. Perfect phone call. How sad that is.
The people who voted
I know I was treated.
The people who voted.
It was perfect. My phone call was perfect. Phone call, quid pro quo. Please don't talk about quid pro quo. Where there's a quid pro quo, $1 billion quid pro quo, except begging for energy. I'm on the side of making our country great.
Quote, another Donald Trump presidency would be a disaster.
You know what it is? Tar.
Are you? All right.
You know the word boning? I did a lot of boning. It's a touch, it's a feel. Bacon is up 5 times. Food is up horribly, worse than energy. Energy is starting to go up at a level that we haven't seen in a long time. War. I mean, why do you do that? Oh, having open borders is a wonderful thing. I don't know why. China, Wuhan, actually. Wuhan, I said that, I mean, frankly. China, COVID, very nice woman. Some people like that. And by the way, it's right there right now, again. A little bit of a long answer. Abortion, ready? I was able to, abortions. No, let me just tell you what I do. I'm going to come abortion. It was a whack job. I call him the Michael Jackson governor. Well into a pregnancy.
But what about the question I just asked you?
We're going to agree. No, I don't frankly care. You go life of the mother, rape, incest. I said, wow, where did that come from? That's a radical change. Look, the economy, very productively.
You are facing 4 indictments.
Biden indictments, excuse me. Biden political indictments. Indict him. They put in the New York DA case, which everybody admits isn't even a case.
Mr. President.
They're Biden indictments.
There's no proof of that.
You know what? He started something that's a very slippery slope. He said, indict him. But they gave me this deranged person named Jack Smith. He's a deranged lunatic. And it was headlined, please, 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 Mr. President, could we take a look at the documents? Please. I'm facing 4 Biden indictments. He told the Justice Department to indict him, or Merrick Garland said, let's indict him. They indicted their political opponent.
I want to know what's in your head. When you go to bed at night, do you worry about going to jail?
No, I don't, really. I don't even think about it. I don't even think about it. These are corrupt people that I'm dealing with. Look, these are Banana Republic indictments. These are third world indictments. You almost say, like, why are they campaigning? Asa Hutchinson, he's at 0. Christie's at 2. Other ones are at 1. DeSanctimonious is at 9. I just see a poll come. And he went to the Attorney General of the United States, and he told him, indict Trump.
There's just no evidence of that, Mr.
Why?
President.
Because you mean he's
but let's stay on track.
Look at all the lies he's told.
Mr. President, I want to talk
Kristen,
about
wait a minute. Wait. Could I say one thing? Look at all the lies he's told over the last couple of weeks. He said he was at the World Trade Center, and he wasn't. He said he flew airplanes, right? He didn't. He said he drove trucks, and he didn't. Everything he says is like a lie. It's terrible.
Mr. President,
even his handicap in golf, he said he's a 6. He's not a 6.
I want to stay focused on you.
Well, I'd like you to, but you keep interrupting me.
Tell me, Mr. President, tell me what you see when you look at your mugshot.
I see somebody that loves this country, in me, that loves this country. I see tremendous unfairness. I think very few people would have been able to handle what I handled. When I was coming down the escalator with Melania, I was already under investigation because they saw how well I was doing in the polls. And it just got worse and worse. When you say, do I sleep? I sleep. I sleep. China, Russia, that was even more perfect than my call to. It was a perfect call. Many top legal scholars, almost everyone, but many top no, and you know that. You're terrible when you say this. You're off to a bad start. Because what I said was very simple. When I said, I spoke for an hour, I knew that many people were in the line. I knew that it was I happen to be a really smart person, but if it was bad, why didn't they say, sir, that was very inappropriate of you to say, just like Ukraine, Ukraine, Ukraine. There's a hoax. Let me tell you, I spoke to them on the phone. Nobody said, sir, you shouldn't speak.
3 times when you made that call.
Talking about a different subject. If I said something wrong on the call, we had a normal phone call.
They said there's no evidence of fraud.
He also said I did nothing wrong last week. No.
Whatsoever.
None whatsoever.
Okay.
I called to complain about an election. Okay. It's a fake charge, my instincts, but I also listen to people. There are many lawyers. I could give you many books that are written. There are numerous books that were written. And when I added it all up, the election was rigged. There are books that are written. Molly Hemingway wrote a great book.
But were you calling
Rigged.
the shots ultimately?
Excuse me. Molly Hemingway, she wrote a book, a best-selling book called Rigged. How do you not get impeached? Don't do anything.
We've heard.
Let me just tell you about January 6th. First of all, I had very little to do with January 6th. I was asked to speak. And I was the President of the United States. I'm allowed to do that. But I was asked to speak. And it was incredible. It was incredible. Hundreds of thousands of people were there. And it was a beautiful, beautiful sight. But just so you understand, I went and I spoke. So I didn't have a dispute with them. You know, you had that one person said, I grabbed the man around the neck. Actually, I wish I was so strong to be able to do that. These are all tough guys, smart guys.
So dispute that account.
Dispute it? Who wouldn't dispute it? She's the craziest account I've ever heard. So I took a guy who was like a black belt in karate and grabbed his neck and tried to choke him.
What happened?
How ridiculous. Just so you understand, I offered 2 days before, 2 or 3 days before, 10,000 soldiers, right? And they were going to go because everybody was telling me, I'm not going to tell you, I'll tell people later at an appropriate time.
Did you call military or law enforcement?
What?
Did you call military or law enforcement at the moment the Capitol was under attack?
I'm not going to tell you anything. Let me put it this way. What? I behaved so well.
Proud Boys.
I don't know him. I never met him. I never heard of him until I started reading this stuff.
Will you pardon him?
But I want to tell you, he and other people have been treated horribly. Antifa kills people. You take a look at what's gone on in Portland. They burned down the city. The city is in shambles to this day. Why do you do that? Why do you give me a horrible question and then you don't let me answer it? You're off to a bad start, I'm telling you.
If you were reelected, would you pardon yourself?
What? I could have pardoned myself. Do you know what? I was given an option. I was given the option. You know what I said? You mean because I challenged an election, they want to put me in jail? I challenged an election, but I challenged a crooked election.
So it's not on your radar. It was a rigged election. Right now.
I challenged a rigged election. And now I'm going to win for a third time. Let me talk about it without interruption. Right? Ukraine would have never happened if I were president. If this election weren't rigged, Ukraine would have never happened. You would have hundreds of thousands of people, including lots of soldiers, still living. And most importantly, Putin has a lot of respect for me. And he wouldn't have played games. And I told him, don't ever go in. And he would never have gone in. This was only after I left that this happened. Likewise, President Xi would never, ever be talking about Taiwan the way he's talking about it right now. And they didn't. They weren't talking about it. And Biden is an incompetent man. And don't even think about it. They started sending us money and I was never given credit for it. I got along great with Kim Jong-un after the first month or two when we were sparring. But I got along great with him. I'd make a fair deal for everybody. Nope.
Doesn't mean that? Wouldn't be a win for Putin?
You know, that's something that could have been negotiated. That would mean that, look, here's my attitude on the war. I just want people to stop being killed. I want people to stop being killed.
Seen it. This was very recent. President Putin said, quote, "We surely hear that Mr. Trump says he will resolve all burning issues within several days, including the Ukrainian crisis. We cannot help but feel happy about it." What do you make of that? Do you welcome his support?
I like that he said that because that means what I'm saying is right. Ukraine was the apple of his eye. I said, don't ever do it. Don't ever do it. He would have never done it. Getting along is okay, but I got along through strength. And the war would have never happened. The war would have never happened. Not at all. Because China, he's another one I got along to until we had the China virus come in. I had him in my office. We were going to do concrete plank. And good luck.
We went all around the horn today, and I appreciate it very much.
Good luck for many years.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me